Well, I hope you're doing good. We're in October. We're going to have kids knocking on our door and asking for candy here pretty soon. It won't be that long at all. And it's amazing how a year goes by. As we said, as you get older, the times get shorter because it's not like a 5-year-old that only has 5 years of perspective. We're getting older now, we got a lot more perspective, and things are just flying. There's some verses that we've read many times when Jesus spoke and he said, look, a good tree cannot produce bad fruit, and a bad tree can't produce good fruit. And he said, by their fruit, you're going to know them. It's just a very common reality and something that we all can acknowledge. That's in Matthew chapter 7 and verse 15 and on through 18 or 19. But just something, it's just a common reality, a truth that we can all agree with. Now, I guess we could say that some people would question whether one person's idea of good fruit would be another person's idea of good fruit, but let me just kind of run some numbers by you. I did a little research recently. One of the things that I do, not necessarily, but it's quite interesting to me. We live in a very unique society that has decided that God really has very little place. We name him, but we don't really listen to him, and we don't recognize his that there are any moral constructs over the world that we live in. We basically have decided that our own intellect and our own desires are the moral framework that we'll live by, which is causing a great deal of confusion. And as a result of that, we have a political system and also a culture where there's a great deal of, at times, seemingly just chaos. You just sit around, scratch your head, and wonder what's going on. But there was an interesting article in the Epoch Times recently. The title of it was "Fentanyl by the Numbers," and it was talking about the amount of fentanyl coming into the nation through the southern border or ports of entry, and that many of the precursors are being created by China, and that there's a great deal of interaction between them and if you will, the cartels that are working to make all these pills that are incredibly dangerous and highly addictive, and we're seeing the fruit of this. Over 70,000 people in our nation that died just as a result of that. So think about it just for a moment. I went back and just kind of added up all of the wars that our nation has fought for our freedom, either ours or the freedom of other nations in the world. So, for example, World War I and World War II. The tally of those wars, in terms of loss of life, this is including the Civil War, which, by the way, was the bloodiest war of all. The tally of those losses is 1,000,000, almost 300,000, 288,000. Now just think about that for a moment. In the course of 250 years, over 1 million people have lost their lives defending our freedom, and also the freedom of other nations as we've fought to secure their freedom. But in just 20 years, just consider this for a moment. In just 20 years, due to drug-related deaths from 2000 to 2023, 23 years, over 1,100,000 people have died. Now, can you understand the enormity of this issue? And then that doesn't include alcohol, which is even more deadly. From 2016 to 2021, 461,000 people, over 461,000 people have died. That's just a period of what, 5 years? So what would happen if we went back to the year 2000 with that? We're talking more than 2 million people. So in a matter of 23 years, twice as many people have died from drugs and alcohol than the whole of all the wars that we fought to secure our nation. Now that is just an incredible reality. And the reason that I say this is that it is politicians and policies that have allowed for this chaos. And if we want to change this, then we need to vote different people in. If you look around and you don't like what you're seeing, and you're bothered by the trends that are in your culture, you can look no further than the people that have been in office, because they are the policymakers. That goes from the leadership of our state, the governor, all the way down in every single aspect. If you don't like the judicial system and the way it's working these days, people getting away with massive amounts of what we call minor crime, which is no longer minor. It's taking an incredible toll on us in terms of insurance and just a sense of safety. If you don't like what you're seeing, then you need to vote somebody else in. That's the way we change it. And can I say something to us all? Don't complain about it if you don't want to vote, because that's the only right we have. We, as Christians, we don't have a right to tell other people how they should live. But as Christians, it's our responsibility to make sure that we express the responsibility that God's given to us to vote. I encourage you to do so. Till next time, friends, God bless you.